Before we begin, if you like what you hear on the Tan and J-Man Show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We encourage you to interact with us and keep up to date with the Tan and J-Man Show on social media by liking our Facebook page and following us on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show with your hosts Tanner Lee and Josh the J-Man Munt. Good evening, Tan and J-Man Show Nation, or it could be good morning if you're listening to the podcast the next day, good night if you're listening, whatever. Tanner Lee, Josh the J-Man Munt, back for episode 183 of the Tan and J-Man Show. How you doing tonight, J-Man?
Not too shabby. How you doing?
That's better than the opposite.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hanging in there, staying healthy.
Staying alive.
Staying alive. Yes, that's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. Last Dance is over.
Sadly.
What are you going to do now?
Well, we have a couple more documentaries coming out. Lance Armstrong, the first episode of his documentary airs on Sunday.
2 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah, I think it's the 24th and 31st. Is there 31 days in May? I think there are. Oh. So I'll probably tune into that. I'm not going to be like watching it live probably. I'll probably just record it and watch it later. So it's not something that I'm super looking forward to. But hopefully we get sports back here soon.
Well, it looks like there's some good movement that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Well, we do have some sports back. NASCAR was back live yesterday.
Sports that I care about. I want them to come back.
Yeah, technically sports are back, so you have to kiss a goat.
I say it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek moment there. But Tanner takes things literal.
Yes, I have to when it comes to you because it's fun.
Yeah, I'm not going to kiss a goat on the buttocks. And
it won't stop you from making outlandish
no, it will not.
Claims and takes.
Yeah, I'll say it. I even said, I forget. Oh, it was that thing you shared. We had a thing. It was like a schedule thing when the NFL schedule was supposed to release. And they had like two games, the two Monday night games. And one of them was the Dolphins playing the 49ers that first Monday night. And I said,
I forgot about that.
If that's real, I will eat a shoe. Then I said the shoe has to be made of chicken and topped with a marinara and Parmesan.
And you said I had to cook it, and I'm like, you don't want that.
Tanner had to cook it.
You don't want that.
Unfortunately, it wasn't real, so I don't get chicken parm out of it.
But. Yeah, there were so many false leaks out of the NFL schedule. It's usually the leaks are pretty accurate.
Got to look for that blue check mark.
Yeah.
Although the leaks rarely come from blue check marks.
The leaks are usually ones that aren't verified, but because it was that big rumor that, and we're getting way off tangent here, but I really don't care. It was that big rumor that they were all going to play, AFC and NFC were going to play the first 4 weeks. Yes. That kind of threw everything off.
And it ended up being not true, correct?
No, correct, because who the Dolphins open up with?
New England.
Yeah, in division opponent, nonetheless. So
correct.
Yeah, and the Broncos open up with the Titans, and I don't think any cross conferences play that early. I could be wrong about that, but
Bears do not play the Texans. Texans Chiefs play.
Yeah, well, the opener.
Yeah, we talked about the schedule last week, and I already forget. Sorry. That's typical.
Kind of forgettable thing.
Who's the Tan and J-Man Show sponsored by there, T-Dog?
Well, for everybody who doesn't already know, hasn't heard, it's sponsored by The Damn Landing. I almost just went right into the read. But whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, The Damn Landing is the place to be. The Damn Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou that focuses on freshness and quality. Of course, they got the Damn Smoke right now, which features barbecue, especially the ribs and steaks. And it's available on the weekends only, so you want to be sure to call in ahead and reserve those if you want that. In addition, you can wash down with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Taking them fantastic views of Lake Manitou and their beer garden or outdoor bar area, which is open right now. So whether it be by boat or by wheels, the Damn Landing is the place to be. Located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester. You can call them at 574-223-8950, and the dining room is
It is open. Limited dining is available right now. Numerous changes have been made in order to comply with COVID-19 regulations. Half the tables and seating have been removed. There will be no seating at the bar. A party maximum will be 6 people. There will be no moving of tables or chairs. Customers waiting for carryout or a table will be asked to wait in their cars. And, of course, if you are not feeling well, stay home.
Yeah.
And they will not be accepting reservations either.
Yep.
At this time. Ready to hear some Birdie Bogey?
Sure, I'm ready to probably miss it, but I'm ready.
I do not have a Last Dance question tonight.
Which I am surprised, because I thought you would finish it off.
No, I saw this question a few weeks ago. And
so it must be a pretty good one.
Had to screenshot it. It's an NFL question. You're pretty good at NFL trivia.
Yeah, it's probably the
best
category, probably.
33 players in NFL history have crossed the 2,150 total yard threshold in a season. So that's like running back, wide receiver.
Yep.
5 have done it multiple times. Can you name, I'm going to say 4 of them.
Whew.
And they are all running backs.
Okay.
The 5 players that have done it. So 33. So 5 players have crossed the 2,150 total yard threshold in a season multiple times.
So 5 running backs have combined
5 running
either
backs
rushing and receiving yards.
Combined to go for
total
over
yards.
2,150 total yards.
Okay. All right.
Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC. Fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, Noble Gnome LLC. You said they sold out of their vegetables.
Yeah, they were at the Kosciuszko County Farmers Market, and they sold out on Saturday. Bryce said he just didn't take enough, so he'll be more prepared this weekend.
And they will have lettuce heads, salad mix, radishes, carrots, kale, rhubarb, and asparagus.
That'll be in their box, CSA box.
Get your veggies.
Yes, sir. Good time for them. All right, ready for some On This Day?
Let's hear it.
Ready to learn some things. On this day in 1912, the A's beat the Tigers 24-2. The Tigers were using amateurs protesting Ty Cobb's suspension.
Wonder what Cobb got suspended
I don't know.
for.
I wish it would say that on here, but it doesn't.
I've mentioned it multiple times, but he is known as one of the meanest players to ever play baseball.
But look at his picture here. He just doesn't look like a nice guy. He looks pretty timid.
Incredibly unlikable guy.
Yeah. On this day in 1933, the first Major League All-Star game was announced for July 6th at Comiskey Park. It ended up being played as part of the Chicago World's Fair.
Ty Cobb attacked a fan in 1912 and was suspended, leading to a strike by his teammates.
That would be a good reason for suspension.
He fought a handicapped heckler.
Wow. That's pretty low.
I'm telling you, he was just
He's a bad man.
Bad person.
And not in like the David West bad man type. He's just a bad human being.
He's just awful.
On this day, 1956, Mickey Mantle, pretty good baseball player.
Not bad.
He hit a home run from both sides of the plate for a record 3rd time.
Wow. In the same game, I remember Mark Bellhorn did it for the Cubs once. He might have done it the same inning. I don't think he did, but he might have.
On this day in 1968, Al Kaline hits his 307th home run, surpassing Hank Greenberg as a Tiger.
Al Kaline was pretty good. Did you say Al Kaline?
Mm-hmm. On this day in 1971, the 4th ABA championship was held. It saw the Utah Stars beat the Kentucky Colonels 4-3.
I was going to say, I thought that was a Utah Stars victory that year.
Yeah, good one. Let's see here. Not a lot of good ones today at all. Here's a good one. On this day, 1990, Cubs Ryan Sandberg ends second baseman record 123 airless game streak.
Do you know who has it now?
No.
At least last I knew. I don't know if anyone's passed it, but Darwin Barney did it for the Cubs in 2012 or 13. I don't remember which year. But he had it. I don't know if somebody's done it since. He did almost a full season. And the air he had was because Rizzo couldn't dig a ball out of the dirt. And it was a pretty easy dig, and Rizzo...
So it wasn't even his fault.
Somehow, no, it really wasn't. And Rizzo is probably the best defensive first baseman in baseball, so it's kind of shocking he didn't do it. But Barney at least tied it, I know.
On this day in 2004, the Arizona Diamondbacks' Randy Johnson became the 16th player to throw a perfect game. He did it against the Braves in a 2-0 victory.
He's also the oldest pitcher ever at 40 years old.
He's a pretty good one.
Not bad. He is 6'10". Have you ever seen the highlights of that All-Star game when John Kruk was hitting against him?
That was in '93.
He threw it over his head like 3 times in a row, and Kruk just had no shot.
Yeah, that was in 1993.
Yeah. I would have been petrified.
Yeah.
Randy Johnson's real into photography, too. And, like, he is photographed.
You could have said taking pictures of.
Professionally. He also killed a bird with a pitch one time.
This is definitely going to be a to wrap up on this day, on this day in 2008, the NHL Eastern Conference Finals were played. The Penguins beat the Flyers, so it was an all Pennsylvania Eastern Conference Final.
No trivia for me?
Nah, I was trying to come up with it, but I knew NHL, you didn't stand a chance.
I might have said the Penguins, though.
Yeah, that's a good guess. Flyers, maybe not so much. That's really all I got. A lot of Preakness trivia, or facts, but
of those 3 races, the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and the other one,
Belmont Stakes,
which is the Belmont Stakes. Which one between the Belmont Stakes and the Preakness do you think would be like the third?
Like which one's the least important?
I know they're all important, but which one's like the least talked about? Probably the Preakness, right? Because it's the middle one. Is that the middle one? I don't know horse racing. Sorry for bringing it up.
I would say the second and third are pretty equal. Well, the third one's
especially if
only important if the horse wins the Derby and then the second
one. The first 2, correct.
If not, it's okay, whoop-de-doo. But they're different tracks. One of those other 2, the Belmont Preakness, one of them's really, really long. So the horse has to be in really, really good shape. Conditioning.
Most horses are in pretty good shape if they are
better than their competition.
Racing. Yes.
We're getting way off topic
it's
talking about
topics
we don't know anything about.
It's tough. That's why I'm glad I'm here.
And the On This Day segment is brought to you by Proforma Prints House. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company, picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print House has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response for all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company. Give them a call today at 574-210-3815 and see what they can do for you.
Since I will not be having... Well, could I have... Do we have sports this weekend?
NASCAR.
So since I will not be having a book it prediction...
And a big golf match on Sunday. Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson.
This will be the J-Man's book it prediction of the week. Give me Tiger Woods and... is he playing with Peyton?
Yeah.
To win that one.
Peyton's better than Tom.
And Tiger's better than Phil. So I'm surprised they matched those 2 up together then.
Tiger and Peyton are good buddies, and it's probably the Nike sponsorship. And
I didn't know Peyton had sponsorships.
He might not be a Nike. Well, played it. Well, yeah, I don't know.
NFL doesn't really matter nearly as much.
Yeah, not now. They're Nike. Brady's still an active NFL player, I guess, but I don't know.
But the J-Man's Book It Prediction of the Week is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering, Life, Home, Auto, Renters, Business, Workers' Comp, and Farm. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com. Pretty sure he said he wanted you to kind of promote some things this week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I got to pull up his Facebook. Give me a minute. He's got a package here. Sorry, I should have had this ready.
You should have. I'm disappointed in you.
Well, you remind me of something I forgot.
You're fired.
Let's see here. Yes, Indiana Farm Bureau has a brand new auto discount. It's a auto policy plus life policy. So contact Travis to see if you'd be eligible for the new auto discount.
219-869-4561.
Says we're excited to introduce a new auto plus life discount to our clients like you who carry both an eligible personal auto policy and life insurance policy with our company. Since you have a qualifying life insurance policy, the appropriate discount has already been applied to your auto policy. In addition to the life plus auto plus life discount, there are even more ways to save. Talk to Travis or visit infb.com /auto-life to learn more.
Cool.
All right. Now that we're all caught up to speed on that, my dad contributed a few topics of discussion for us. This is the first time I've opened up the envelope. Well, actually, I opened the envelope before the show, but I did not take the contents out of the package. So this is the first time the J-Man or I have seen these.
All right. Do you just want to go? I assume they're the same paper. Mine says best professional athlete.
Yes, they're the same. You want to just go down the list and hit them all?
Let's do it. First question. Best professional athlete never to win a title. And he put Barry Bonds, ? Dan Marino, ? Karl Malone, ? Ted Williams, ? Someone else, ?
That's a really good question.
That's a great question. Barry Bonds.
Ooh.
He's the greatest hitter of all time. Ted Williams is way up there, too. But what Bonds did isn't just insane. He almost won one with with the Giants. They lost in 7 to the Angels. But give me Barry Bonds.
You threw a curveball to me there because you're wearing your Dolphins green.
I am.
I thought it was Dan the Man, even if you didn't really believe it. I
No,
was going with Dan the Man.
Dan Marino was an elite Hall of Fame quarterback, obviously, but I don't think he was as good at his craft as Barry Bonds was at.
Did Bonds only play in one World Series, or did he play in 2? Did he play? Pittsburgh didn't make one, right? When he was
no, they came
so
close.
They only played in one then.
They went to the NLCS a couple times, I think.
So he played in the one against the Angels when really San Francisco probably should have won that.
Yeah, that was a really good World Series. It's really, now that I'm thinking about it, Bonds and Ted Williams are a coin flip. But give me Bonds just because he has the home run.
I'm trying to think of anybody else who could be in that conversation. Karl Malone's a good one.
Yeah,
but a darn good NBA player.
I'd put him 4th on the list.
Yeah, out of these guys, I'm just thinking even in NBA. I'm trying to think of other guys to put up there with Karl Malone. I can't think real good off the top of my head on the spot.
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Give me Carl over Pat, though.
Yeah, Gary Payton, but they're not in the league of the other two guys. Yeah, I'd say Barry Bonds. Out of these 4, I can't even think of anybody else.
Next question. What current athletes are not living up to all the hype that was thrown at them? Bryce Harper, ? Baker Mayfield, OBJ, Lonzo Ball, or someone else? That is also a very good question.
I think Bryce Harper's had a pretty good career so far.
Yeah, he's won an MVP.
I mean, maybe not. He hadn't reached the heights he was hyped up to be, but
which really the hype wasn't fair for an 8. He was 14, 15 years old when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I mean, you can definitely make a case for Harper, but I don't think he'd be my choice. Baker's only been in the league 2 years. I think we need to give him a little more time.
Ken Griffey Jr. is a good baseball player, too, that never won a title.
That is a good one. He's not Bonds level, no offense to the Red
You're gonna make a couple people mad there.
Mariners fan.
But no, you're right. He's no Bonds.
OBJ's really good, but he's kind of turned into a cancer in the locker room a little bit.
Baker's too young still. I mean, we haven't seen the sample size yet.
Lonzo's a good. That's an interesting one. He hasn't been nearly as good for being. Was he the number 1 overall pick? Number 2 overall pick.
I never thought he was going to be that good though as a pro. So
it was mainly LeVar's fault that
now his brother might be the number 1 draft pick this year.
Thinking that, and his brother's better, is what I've kind of read.
Which he was a joke like 3 years ago, or making a joke of himself trying to play in Europe.
Just being, but he's like 6'8" point guard now, and Lonzo was really good at UCLA, but
there's got to be somebody else on this list, or somebody else that
most hyped. that have not lived up to the hype. I want to say like Cam Newton, but he won an MVP.
He won MVP and got his team to the Super Bowl.
Mike Vick definitely didn't live up to the hype he had surrounding him.
He had a few good years, but he
wasn't that great of a quarterback. I think baseball.
I'm trying to think NBA, but man, that's a good question.
Darko Milicic. Well,
that was
I don't.
Active. We can do that all day long. I mean, you can go with Ryan Leaf and Tim Couch and start throwing guys like that out there. But
man, that's a good question.
Out of these guys, I would
say Lonzo.
I'm gonna say OBJ because I didn't even put Lonzo really in the category with the others.
Well, I mean, OBJ's had some great years. He's just kind of a head case anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Lonzo just for the sake of being different.
Well, how about Johnny Manziel was another one that didn't live up to the hype.
That's a good one. Of course, he's not active either.
Sure.
And really, he went, 22nd, 24th overall.
Yeah.
But he had so much hype just because he won a Heisman.
Yeah, which that definitely goes into the hype effect for a lot of these guys.
Carson Wentz.
I was staying away from it. My dad will text me right away if I say something about Carson Wentz, so I'm staying away from it.
That's a good question, though.
Yeah, it is.
Number 3, who is the best game analyst on TV? Tony Romo, Kirk Herbstreit, A-Rod, Jeff Van Gundy, Jay Billis, Faldo. Is that Nick Faldo?
Yeah.
And other.
Some of these names are going to make some of our listeners very angry that they're even mentioned on this list. But I love Romo. I think he's really good.
You like Romo.
I know you're not going to go that direction, but
I think Romo's really good. Just talks too much, and he's not worth. What do you get? $18 million?
Oh yeah, he's not worth.
No one
announcer is.
No one is.
Hey, if you can play your cards and get the money, get yours.
Big fan of Herbstreit.
Yeah, he's good. Does a good job.
Really dislike A-Rod. Don't like the NBA enough or watch the NBA enough to have an opinion on Van Gundy or Faldo.
I don't like Billis anymore. I did it one time, but
I really like Jay Billis.
I'm not a fan of his.
But give me these are just national guys because I could easily go Jim DeShays, Cubs guy for those that don't know.
I like how you chuckled after you say that.
Give me. I hate John Smoltz, so I'm glad that wasn't even an option.
How about Joe Buck?
Joe Buck's all right. I do not like Aikman at all. I love Louis Riddick, and I hope he gets the Monday Night Football job. But give me Herbstreit out of those guys. I think he does a great
Kirk
job.
does a good job.
Doing the Saturday night games as
Fowler
well as
does a good job with them.
Yeah. They're probably my favorite national tandem.
I wouldn't mind those two getting to Monday night, but
I really like Chris Collinsworth too.
He's growing on me.
I used to not like him at all, but him and Al do a great job together. But still give me Herbstreit.
I'm glad Dan Fouts isn't on this list.
I think Ian Eagle's really good though, and I think they dumped Fouts for
Charles Davis is
Charles Davis, and I like Charles Davis as well. So that's a good one.
Got a comment here that says Steve Stone.
I hate Steve Stone. Just because he's I don't actually hate Steve Stone. I like him a lot more now that he's not with.
Think he's good as his job?
Yeah. Yeah. I like him more now that he's not with.
Brenneman?
Thom. Who spells Tom that way? Thom.
So that's a no.
Marty. I like Steve Stone now that he's not with Hawk Harrelson. Hawk Harrelson. I like Jason Benetti a lot with him. So yeah, Steve Stone's a good one, but I wouldn't say he's a national guy. He's local. But it's a good question as well. These are really good questions.
Yeah, they are.
He comes up with a lot better questions than we do.
Yes, he does.
Biggest rule change you would like to see in sports: DH for all of baseball, have 1-and-1 foul shots in the NBA.
Forgot they didn't have 1-on-1.
Less timeouts in college basketball. They've already cut those down, but I would like to see less TV timeouts. Every college football team has to play a non-conference road game.
Like that
is a really good one. Maximum 15-yard pass interference penalty for pro football. Change college football overtime rules. Pitcher has 15 seconds to pitch once he gets the ball, or something else.
I like a few of these.
I think DH for all of baseball is going to happen definitely this year, and I think it's going to just carry over.
I agree with you.
Going forward.
Nobody pays to watch the pitcher hit.
pitchers hit a combined like 109, a collective 109. They don't bunt very well because pitchers are getting harder to bunt against anymore. So it's a pointless. It's an auto out. 1-on-1 foul shots.
I don't care about them being
no. Less timeouts in college basketball. I would like to see maybe one TV timeout. Go like the under 14, under 6, and then you have or maybe 3 TV timeouts instead of. Well, there's 4 TV timeouts, aren't there? In a college basketball game in each half.
Sean Shriver saying no DH with about 10 exclamation. I know he's really proponent on the pitchers hitting.
It's time for them to not let pitchers hit anymore. Sorry if that offends anyone.
I agree too.
Because I've had people go at me on Twitter before because I am a big proponent for the DH.
And for the most part, you're a baseball traditionalist. So
yeah, and I mean my team has been in the National League for years, but I can't watch Jose Quintana hit .067 another season.
I like the football ones on here. I think it'd be interesting to have every college football team play a non-conference road game. That would be interesting.
I love that one because teams play cupcakes.
You mean Ohio State plays cupcakes? Alabama plays cupcakes?
They don't play nearly as bad at cupcakes as, say, in Indiana.
You're
no
right.
Offense.
You're right. You're right.
or in Illinois. Illinois has a
and Alabama usually
schedule.
gets in a neutral game like week 1. But
so, and Ohio State's played like Oklahoma.
They are going to, they're supposed to go to Oregon this year. We'll see if that happens or not.
Yeah, but I like that one. But the 15-yard pass interference.
Yeah, it's time to change that. I think that needs to be like colleges, and colleges targeting ejection rule needs to be like the NFL's.
Agreed. You get 2 of them, and then you're...
Because that can cost you the game either way. I remember awful Broncos team 2010 had the game 1, 4th down, and guy pass interference against the Jets at the 10-yard line. They get the ball clear down there, Jets score, and Broncos lose.
And they got rid of the pass interference reviews going forward. I mean, you could have really bad underthrows result in like a 50-yard play because
they got rid of the face mask rule a few years ago where it was a 5-yard or 15-yard penalty to completely 15 yards.
That's what they need to do. Also, another rule I would like to throw out there, if somebody fumbles it out of the back of the end zone, it's not a touchback. It just goes back to where
it was.
The ball was fumbled.
What if it fumbles hits pylon?
Same thing.
Okay.
Because teams are punished for trying to score essentially. Reach the ball out and it gets hit and it goes out the back of the end zone. If the defensive team can't recover it and it goes out the end zone, then ball goes back to the spot.
I have no problem with college football overtime rules. I have more problem with the NFL overtime rules than I do college.
You know, I agree with you. I used to have a problem with college football.
Thad Mooney said NFL overtime scoring.
Overtime rules, but if a team scores a touchdown in the NFL, I want another team to go down and have a chance, just like in college football. So another really good question. We've had this question before, and we've answered it. But what is your all-time favorite sports movie? Rocky, The Blind Side, North Dallas 40, Hoosiers, Breaking Away, others. Never heard of Breaking Away.
I haven't either. I'm guessing that's a track movie, maybe?
It could be.
I would think
that would make
sense.
I started to watch North Dallas 40, and that was too
seen that.
1970s for me. I had to turn it off.
Mine's Remember Titans. It's my favorite movie. So
I will say The Sandlot. It's a nostalgic thing for me. I'd rent it from the library like 3 times a week when I was a kid. That, Rookie of the Year, or Angels in the Outfield. Those were the 3 I watched. So I will say The Sandlot. What is the worst?
Well, his on there, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, never seen it. Rudy, I actually own that one. Caddyshack 2, terrible. Blades of Glory, pretty bad. Or other.
I've heard Trouble with the Curve, the Clint Eastwood movie.
I didn't mind that one.
Is awful if you're like a big baseball fan, but I've never seen it, so I can't.
I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing ever, but I didn't think it was awful.
It's so tough to get like baseball movies. It's so tough to get actors to actually look like athletes. Mm-hmm. The movies that do usually are pretty dang good.
Well, Rudy was offsides. But I'm going to go Caddyshack 2. I loved the first one so much. I thought the second one was just stupid.
I'm going to go Sandlot 2. You ever seen the second?
I don't think I have.
It's awful. It is brutal.
Did they make like 3 of them?
They might have.
The second one and the third one was like straight to your home.
Yeah, it was a straight to DVD or straight to VCR.
Yeah.
But the second, it was either the second or third Sandlot.
Got a comment from Sean Shriver here. There's nothing better than seeing someone like Madison Bumgarner hit a big home run. And he also says Breaking Away is a great, all capitals, movie about Little 500 at IU. Highest recommendation.
Interesting.
All right.
The rare times a pitcher gets a chance to hit a big home run. Like Jake Arrieta hit a 3-run homer in the playoffs against Madison Bumgarner.
Kerry Wood hit a home run.
Kerry Wood hit a huge homer in Game 7 against the Marlins that they ultimately lost.
Yeah, after that home run, I thought the Cubs had in bag.
Yeah, the place was rocking. Travis Wood hit a huge homer against the Giants in that same NLDS. It's fun when it happens. Carlos Zambrano was a great hitting pitcher.
Mike Hampton.
Yeah, he's a really good hitting pitcher. It helps that he
Sure.
hit in Coors Field. I always got to throw that out there. But he was really good away from Coors Field, too.
Yeah, with the Braves and the Mets.
But we need some change.
I'm agreeing with you.
Speed up the game. The American League in interleague play is dominated for years. They score like almost a full run more per game than the National League does. Just think it's time.
Yep. I do too. Anything else to hit on those topics?
Those were really good questions.
Yes. Help us fill some time, so we really appreciate it. And
send us more.
If anybody else has questions, just please send them to our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, text Josh or I. Pretty much any way you can get a hold of us, just let us know. So, well, like we mentioned at the beginning, The Last Dance is over. Episodes 9 and 10 came to a close last night. What was your takeaways from episode 9 and 10 and the documentary as a whole?
I learned never to order a pizza late at night in Utah.
I still don't believe that.
You think he was like hungover? Is that what you believe?
I
mean,
think
there's
he
so
either
many
had
conspiracies.
a little too much sauce or a bad cigar or two.
And that would, I mean, or he was poisoned. I've heard he was poisoned. Which it was almost like they were implying that last night.
Yeah, exactly. And why 5 guys come to deliver the pizza?
For one, why would they tell him it was for Michael Jordan?
I can't think they were that dumb enough to do that.
Right.
They just kind of, maybe those pizza places kind of figured that out somehow. But
what should have happened is they should have sent it down to like the lobby
yeah.
And then they went down and picked it up.
Yeah, the whole thing just didn't make sense to me.
Send it to another hotel. Go to that hotel just to cover your tracks.
So we can't call it the flu game. We got to call it the food poisoning game now.
The bad pizza day or the bad pizza game.
I mean, come on.
Still, it doesn't really take away from
nobody else got a slice of pizza. He ate it all by himself.
He ate it all, but now I've done that many times.
Well, yes, so have I, but like a frozen pizza. But I mean, if I have other people around me, I'm going to offer them a slice of pizza.
I'm sure they offered, but the one trainer guy said he had a bad feeling about it. I don't know how you have a bad feeling about it.
The whole thing just seemed weird to me. I'm like, I think he had too much sauce. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's out the night before a game, drinking till 3 a.m., gambling. I don't know.
I had a very similar experience to Michael Jordan. I told you last night. So 4th grade, Tanner and I are on the same basketball team. The Grizzlies. I don't remember if we won many games. I'm sure
we only lost 3 games.
Only lost 3 games because of me. I was 6th man in 4th grade. But it was a Saturday morning. We had a game. But I told my mom and dad I wasn't feeling good, and my dad goes into this spiel about, you're just nervous, Michael Jordan. I mean, this would have been, what, 2001, 2002-ish?
2002 probably.
It would have just been like 4 years or so after this whole Michael Jordan flu game. My dad said, Michael Jordan played in the NBA Finals with a 102-degree temperature, had to get an IV put in at halftime. You're going to your game. You're just nervous. So we're walking to the car. Get into the garage, projectile vomit everywhere, all over the garage. Gets on the car. My dad did not make me go to the game that day. But if I would have put up 38 like Jordan did.
I sure hope we won that game. If not, it's all your fault.
You probably, it was probably addition by subtraction.
I could honestly, I'm not going to do it because our viewers and listeners probably don't care, but I could name about everybody that was on our roster because we only had 8 or 9 players. So
I can name 3 of us.
Yeah, but I'm not. I won't show off. So, anyways, back to The Last Dance. I enjoyed episode 9 a lot, particularly as a Pacer fan. it was cool to see that series, even though the Pacers lost in kind of gut-wrenching fashion. I always like seeing highlights of games in Market Square Arena because I never got to go there.
Right.
And it seemed like just a raucous place.
When did it?
99, 2000 was
2000.
the year the Pacers lost to the Lakers in the finals. Was the first year of then Conseco, which is now Banker's Life.
For some reason, I thought it closed down and they built Conseco a long time before 2000. I thought it was like mid-90s or something.
And then they blew Market Square up pretty quick after.
Where was it? Was it right downtown?
Yeah, it wasn't too far away from where Conseco is, I believe. I think it's I don't want to. I could be mistaken here, but I think it's just a parking garage now, or been built up to be a parking garage now. I have no idea. I could be way wrong about that, but yes. Hey, somebody, Marshall Lee says go. Marshall Lee Hill says go Dolphins.
Yes, sir. 10-6 this year.
Oh boy.
Take it to the bank.
All right, put that in writing on May 18th. But it was interesting showing that woman yelling in the crowd.
That's a very good representative for our state.
They found who she was in Docket Chatter on today.
Seriously?
On radio, and she doesn't regret anything.
Huh.
Says that's how she was during games. There, she said that somebody came up to her before the game in her section and said they were recording a documentary on Jordan and the Bulls, and could they get them to sign a release? So they signed a release. She never thought it was.
Yeah, 20 years later.
She said she doesn't regret anything. She said she would try to get in the opponent's head so much where she knew some of the guys like on a first name basis, like Dennis Rodman. She yelled something at Dennis Rodman one time. He turned around and said, "That ring on your finger is fake."
Ooh, that's a good comeback.
Yeah. So she's like, "Okay, Dennis." So it's interesting. I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but it is on Dockage's Twitter. I forget what her name is. They had an article about her in the Indy Star today. So I knew they'd find out who it was if she was living. I knew they'd find out who it was. So, but really good. They also recapped both series against the Jazz. And I thought it was interesting to learn about Steve Kerr's background.
Yeah, I knew a little bit about his background. For some reason, I thought his dad was like ambassador to the U.S. or ambassador to, I don't know. I thought he was an ambassador, but he wasn't. He was a college president over there.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And
any of that.
I knew he'd been murdered, so him and Jordan kind of had that in common.
But it sounded like they never talked about it.
Which, I mean, that'd be very difficult to talk about, so I don't blame him. But.
Real quick, speaking of Market Square, here's a non-sports fact. Is also Sean Shriver. He's just full of knowledge. Elvis Presley's last concert was at Market Square Arena in 1977.
That is a very interesting fact.
I would have never guessed.
No.
So.
He knows a lot more than us.
Oh, yeah. A lot more. So I don't even try to hide the fact. But I thought I enjoyed episode 9 more than I did episode 10, but episode 10 was good too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was mainly just about the 98 Jazz series. I was hoping John Stockton was going to get a little more edgy.
Because they said he was hard to get on. They just recorded his part like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
And I can't imagine they kept the edgy parts out.
No.
Because that's what people
I was a little disappointed by that.
But I was very impressed that Karl Malone went into their bus after they had won the finals and congratulated Jordan
Good guy.
The team. Seems like a classy guy. Now, he wasn't interviewed at all, was he? I don't remember him.
I don't think he was.
At all. So
he's a guy that's really stayed away from any spotlight after his career was over.
Yeah, him and Stockton both.
They haven't done many interviews or anything.
Stockton looks the exact same, too.
Yeah. Those were good Jazz teams.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jordan ruined a lot of teams. A lot. The Knicks.
Sure. Well, that what they show, him and Scotty knocked out 7 teams that had won 60 or more games.
That's insane.
In the playoffs. 7.
You won't see that.
When they popped that up, I'm like 3. There's 7. Okay, 7.
You won't see that in today's NBA either.
No, it's, I mean, and I guess my question to you is, if the Bulls team would have came back for the, would that have been 98-99 season, would they have won 7 in a row? Or 7th overall, 4th in a row? If
the whole nucleus, including Phil, came back, I think they would have done it again. I really think they would have.
I don't know.
Jerry Krause.
They were getting pushed.
Was
towards the end of that.
Yeah, and I mean they were getting older too.
Sure.
I mean Jordan was 36 or whatever, 35. Scotty was in his 30s. Rodman was old. He was probably 37 then. But still, they were winning 60 games, and sure they were getting pushed, but they still found ways to win. But Jerry Krause wanted to tear it down, start over, and they've been rebuilding ever since 98. So, and Krause even said, or in his book said, even if Jordan came back, he was messing around with a cigar clip and almost cut his finger off. Wouldn't even been able to play in 98, 99.
Yep. Scotty got traded. Dennis released.
Yep. Jordan said last night Scotty would have been the tough one to get back because he just didn't have a great relationship with ownership or with GM and ownership at that time. Although he gave Jerry Krause credit as being the greatest GM ever last night.
Yep. Yeah, it was just a really well done documentary. Probably the best sports documentary I've ever watched.
I would say easily. There have been. Have you ever watched Hoop Dreams?
Mm-mm.
It's like a 3-hour documentary. I watched it on Netflix. That's way up there as well. It follows these two kids. They're like 14, 15 years old, entering high school. Follows them all throughout their high school career and then into if they go to college. So that's a really good one. But I would say this Bulls documentary, of course it was Jordan-centric, as you knew it would be, is the greatest sports documentary series I've ever watched. Of course, you're going to have people out criticizing it, which I don't understand. I mean, I think those
are just Bulls haters.
Well,
Jordan haters.
It was a prominent news outlet said the documentary was great, but it still wasn't without its flaws. And wrote a whole argument or a whole story on the flaws.
I mean, the only thing I saw people complain of was their bouncing back and forth.
Which that didn't confuse me at all. I know it confused some people, but I thought it was pretty easy to follow.
I thought it was well done. I mean, I learned a lot.
And, I mean, the reality is they pushed this out 2 months before it was supposed to.
Start mid-June, right?
Yeah, June 19th, I think it was supposed to come out. So the fact that they were even able to finish it and put together this kind of a product is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, they probably didn't need. I mean, they probably could have started earlier if they wanted to, anyways. But
got to make it perfect.
But it gave them time to get Stockton's part done. I mean, that wouldn't have been in there.
Yeah.
I thought even Reggie was going to be a little more edgy than he was because he's been on record saying he doesn't really like Jordan. But
yeah, it seemed like they had a good relationship. Yeah. The scene with Jordan and Bird after Game 7 was pretty funny.
Bird's reaction after Reggie hit the shot, his face didn't change at all.
And if Jordan hits that shot, almost banks it in, I'm telling you, people would not remember the Craig Elo one. That would be the one they remember.
Poor Craig Elo, man.
He's just crapped on the whole time.
Harper wanted to guard him anyways, and man. But really well done. It's interesting if that team would have came back for the 98-99 season with the strike and everything,
right?
Because that saw the Spurs. The Spurs beat the Knicks, and the Knicks unfortunately beat the Pacers 4-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals, thanks to the Larry Johnson 4-point play, which is still one of the most ridiculous calls in NBA history. Go look it up if you haven't seen it. But the Spurs swept the Blazers to get to the finals. And then after that, it was the Lakers dynasty for a while. So you had the Spurs 1 year in a shortened season in between these two dynasties.
Steve Kerr won 4 straight NBA titles because he went to the Spurs. And
that's right.
So
it
was the most watched documentary ever on ESPN and the network.
That's not shocking at all. If you had to pick a 10-part documentary series to be on a sports figure, sports team, who would you like to see featured?
We asked this last night. We have a group of friends, 6 of us. We share all kinds of stuff. But somebody shared that, and I think the consensus was like Tiger Woods. That'd be an interesting one.
If I only want it, though, if he's going to be brutally honest. Like what happened in the 2009 incident.
Yes.
There's so many theories and rumors.
If it's going to be watered down, I don't
if he absolutely opened up, which I don't think we'll ever get that, unfortunately. No. But, man, that'd be fascinating.
A Kobe Shaq one would be good. I don't know how they could fill out 10 episodes of that. A Barry Bonds one would be good.
Yep. And some of these guys, it would be hard to get for them to contribute. I don't know if Bonds would contribute or not.
I mean, he kind of wants a story told, it sounds like. So, which I
thought Michael Phelps might be interesting, but I don't know if that's enough for a 10-episode one.
Maybe kind of like a Lance Armstrong deal. You get to, 20 years from now, there might be one of the Patriots dynasty that I will not watch.
They got plenty of film on the other teams in the league, so.
That's a good point.
Patriots do. I don't know if anybody has behind-the-scenes films of the Patriots, but they definitely have behind-the-scenes film on everybody else.
Cheaters.
But no, that's.
I think even if this pandemic wasn't going on, normal sports were on, and they aired The Last Dance starting June 19th or whenever, I still think it would have been the most watched documentary.
I agree. It was just very hyped up. It had been,
it had lived up
advertising it and marketing it for a while. I also like the cheap WCW NWO plug with Rodman. That was cool. They didn't mention Malone, though, and Malone was part of that, but of course this was a Bulls documentary. So, but they did show them kind of getting into it on the court one time.
Yes, but freaking Rodman, man.
He was something else.
The Worm.
He's unbelievable. If you ever want to see him wrestle, just go on YouTube. He wrestled. I think Malone only did it once. It was a 2-on-2 match, but Rodman did many. So
was he better than Rob Gronkowski?
Yeah, because he's actually wrestled a match. Gronk hasn't. He just did spots here and there. Was supposed to, but then he went back to the Buccaneers. So maybe he will in the future. But yeah, he's better than Shaq. Better than Kevin Green. He did a wrestling match one time. Lawrence Taylor did a wrestling match one time.
Kevin Green was that blonde guy with real long hair
for the Steelers and the Panthers. Yeah, he was probably the best athlete. Mike Tyson had a spot one time.
Tyson would be a good 10-episode docu-series.
Yeah, it would be. Pete Rose.
I just don't like the Reds.
It'd be an interesting one, though.
It would be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good ones. But
now what are we going to talk about going forward next week with...
We need your help, Tan and J Nation, please. You got a list, though, an interesting list, sticking with the NBA topic. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
A few weeks ago, we got the idea from Sean Schreiber.
Yep.
He said to name the top 10 professional football players from Indiana colleges, Major League Baseball players from college or high school, and then top 10 professional basketball players from Indiana colleges. So I did the professional basketball players from Indiana colleges. I hope I didn't miss anyone. I tried my best.
I'll let you know.
Figure out.
Maybe.
But number 1, Larry Legend.
Yeah.
Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Indiana State. Pretty dang good.
Yep.
Number 2, I had Isaiah Thomas.
Yep.
Out of Indiana.
Can't argue those.
Number 3, Adrian Dantley. Notre Dame. He averaged like 24 points a game in his career.
I didn't know what he did in the NBA, to be honest.
Number 4, George McGinnis. IU. Nice. Big boy. Number 5, Walt Bellamy. IU.
Is Dantley in the Hall of Fame?
I believe he is.
I know McGinnis
That's I think why I had him 3.
Okay.
Number 6, Big Dog.
Yeah, started off his career good and then kind of.
Number 7, Joe Barry Carroll.
Yeah.
Purdue.
Number 1 overall pick.
Number 8, Kelly Tripucka. Tripucka. Something like that out of Notre Dame. He had Tripucka. He had a great career in the NBA, but I think he had some injury issues.
His dad was the Broncos' first quarterback in their franchise history. Frank
Tripucka.
Peyton Manning had to get the Tripucka's blessing to wear 18 when he went to Denver.
Yeah. Number 9, Victor Oladipo, Indiana. Number 10, Jerry Sloan, Evansville.
So you're putting Victor over Zach Randolph. Oh, Randolph went to high school.
State.
High school. Yeah, Conley, Oden, all those guys went to high school. Didn't go to college in Indiana.
Honorable mention, Bonzi Wells, Ball State. He is one of just 3 NBA players ever out of Ball State. Then I had to throw in Bill Laimbeer in that as well because he went to Notre Dame.
How about Gordon Hayward?
I completely forgot about Butler. I completely forgot to look up Butler.
Gordon Hayward's the best one, but I'd say...
Is he better than Dippo, though?
I think he's right there. Probably just behind him, but until he snapped his ankle.
He's probably ahead of Jerry Sloan.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about... George Hill is also another one I thought of.
APY.
Man, Eric Gordon also. He probably should have been ahead of Jerry Sloan. I just threw in Jerry Sloan just because I didn't realize he went to Evansville until I looked it up.
How about Alan Henderson?
Was he pretty good? I thought... Alan Henry, he averaged 7.8 points a game.
All right.
Who was I looking up? Gordon Hayward.
It's pretty good until
Jerry Sloan averaged 14 points a game. Yeah, I would put Hayward over. My apologies, Butler Bulldogs. They've only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 NBA players average. Just 6.
Mack and who else?
Keelan Martin played 31 games this year. Bob Evans played 1950. Ralph O'Brien played a year or 2. Billy Shepard played 2 or 3 years. So, give me Hayward over Jerry Sloan.
Brad Miller didn't have a bad career.
No, but it wasn't better than Jerry Sloan's.
Okay.
We'll see. Actually, I'm going to look it up right now.
He is two-time All-Star. Has Oladipo been two-time All-Star?
I think he has.
Okay.
I mainly just threw Sloan on there just because he's a Hall of Fame.
Curious.
11.2 points a game, 7.1 rebounds.
Billy Keller.
Who?
Billy Keller.
Billy Keller.
Billy's his first name.
Two-time All-Star, Victor. He's averaged 17 points a game in his career. Billy Keller?
I think Billy's his first name. I hope.
Nope.
Just type in Keller for the last name.
K-E?
Keller.
Bill Keller.
Well,
He only played 6 years. He's a point guard. 11.8 points a game. Played in the ABA.
Yeah, I knew he played for the Pacers. Rick Mount did not have a good NBA career.
He was okay.
NBA career.
He was kind of comparable to like Bonzi Wells, stat-wise.
I'm trying to think. John Paxton.
John Paxson went to
Notre Dame.
He wasn't nearly.
I'm just throwing guys out I can think of now. Just
7 points a game in his career.
All right.
Other than Gordon Hayward, though, I feel like I did all right.
Yeah. Let's see.
Do you have any comments?
No.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, Jared Jeffries didn't have that great of pro career. AJ Guyton didn't have a good pro career.
Indiana had a few other guys average over 10 points a game in their NBA career.
A pretty good list. Yeah, I didn't do research on that.
Much obliged.
Research. Got about 9 minutes. So one thing, I know you are very sick of this, but the one thing I wanted to hit on was there was some Purdue news last week. Nogel Eastern, senior to be guard, decided last week he was going to enter the transfer portal on Monday. Then on Wednesday announced he was going to Michigan. So far, almost a week later, Michigan hasn't acknowledged anything, and now rumor has it he might not be going to Michigan. It's a cluster.
Nogel Eastern is not a very good basketball player.
Good defender, can't do anything on offense. A decent rebound.
Can't shoot.
Nope.
Not that great of a passer.
Nope, nor a ball handler.
He's a good guy to have when you have a Carson Edwards go off for 40, and then you have Ryan Klein also who can score. But, I mean, I've told you last year when Purdue was going through scoring struggles, which they did a lot last year, they had to play him 20 minutes a game, and it just didn't go very well.
Had to play him for defense and rebounding.
Yeah.
But I just don't – the whole thing just doesn't make sense to me because if he was that unhappy at Purdue, why don't you announce transfer back in March or April? You wait till mid-May, and then you do it to an in-conference school 2 days later after you announce you're transferring.
He got some bad advice.
Yeah.
Unless maybe Matt was kind of pushing him out. Who knows?
Could be. Matt had a very honest interview with Dan Dockage. I recommend listening to that. It was about 32 minutes long, and he talked about for 30 minutes of it. Dockage only talked for 2, which is amazing within itself.
Dockage doesn't shut up.
But yeah, and Matt was defended by coaches like Tom Izzo went on to the Dockage show and defended him. Frank Martin of South Carolina. So some guys that might be a little surprising, but they agreed with pretty much everything Matt said for the most part. That was about as honest as I mean, Matt Painter's usually a straight shooter anyways, but he's very, very honest. I actually heard he was on another podcast today. I haven't listened to it yet on a smaller scale, and he pretty much didn't regret anything he said. So we'll see. He probably knew, too, ahead of time where Nogel was supposedly going. But we'll see where this whole mess winds up, how it winds up. So.
I'm so bored with it.
Well,
I was bored like Thursday, and it came out Thursday.
As a Purdue fan, at least it's a topic I can get interested in when there's nothing going on. So, because I don't know, Purdue seems to have something different, whether it's a football player transferring or getting a football recruit or something seems to happen almost every day anymore. So,
are you ready to hear some Birdie Bogey? You got a couple minutes to think about it.
Sure.
Let's see. 5 running backs have crossed the 2,150 total yard threshold in a season multiple times. Can you name 4 of those 5?
2,500 yard.
2,150.
2,150.
4 of these guys are Hall of Famers. 1 guy is not.
Okay. Marshall Faulk?
He is 1. He did it 3 times.
Okay, so Hall of Fame backs. I want to guess the one that's not, but I'm afraid he's wrong. I'm wrong with that one. Hall of Fame backs. Why can't I think of Hall of Fame running backs? This is bugging me. Emmitt Smith?
No.
Crud. He was all-time rushing leader. That's why I went with him.
Then the question was, will Christian McCaffrey eventually add his name to the list?
And
I think
he's got
he will.
pretty good. Adrian Pearson?
No.
Jeez, this is awesome.
I think a lot of these guys caught the ball, too, more than those guys.
I'm trying to think. I literally can't. Because when I think of good pass-catching running backs, they weren't really great running backs. But how about LaDainian Thompson?
LaDainian Thompson did it 3 times, as well as Marshall.
Jeez, now I'm really...
Masha.
Now I'm really...
One guy retired early.
Oh, Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders did it twice.
Duh. Edgerrin James wasn't.
No.
Okay.
This guy was a Colt, as well as Marshall Faulk.
Eric Dickerson.
Did it twice. Now, there's one guy that has not made the Hall of Fame and will not make the Hall of Fame, but was really good in like a 3 or 4 year stretch in our lifetimes.
3 or 4 year stretch? Wasn't Jamal Lewis, was it?
No. It's a good guess. Same time frame.
Eddie George?
No.
Team give it away?
Yes.
Ricky Williams?
No. Played for one of your division rivals.
Priest Holmes.
Did it twice.
So Larry Johnson was good, too, for the Chiefs.
Yes, but I figured Priest or the Chiefs would give it away.
Good question, J-Man. I should have done better on that. I'm a little mad at myself.
Bogey.
Yeah, deservingly so. I did bad. Man, I should have done better. But that was a good question.
That was a pretty good one.
Yep.
I couldn't find a good Last Dance question, though. I could have saved that one in the back.
And
I've had this one in the holster for about a month now.
They share so much during shared so much during that documentary.
It's almost hard. They did a trivia segment every...
We'll have to see. You might get a cycling question next Monday.
Please no. It's the Tour de France. That's all I know.
That's all I know, too. So I know more about horse racing than I do cycling.
You know more about horse racing than I do cycling. So
wrap us up there, J-Man.
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man show. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the Dam Landing, as well as Noble Gnome LLC, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent, and the On This Day segment,
which is the Proforma Print House.
We'd also like to thank Big E, Eric Lee, for providing some...
spelled with an A.
Yeah, that's the inside joke. Some very good questions, some thought-provoking questions. So keep them coming. And
we got a few things that we could have talked about that we're going to save for another time. So.
Yes, in the future, I do. We have some what-ifs for our teams. You guys probably won't care as much about them. But we have some what-ifs. I have them for the Dolphins, Cubs, and Illinois basketball.
I got pretty basketball, football, and the Broncos.
And I also came up with a list of my top 20 hated Major League Baseball players.
And maybe we need to do a trivia again sometime. So.
Yeah, so give us some ideas for trivia.
Because, you could throw out some... I would be awful, but you could do, Avalanche or Yankee trivia for me. Well, I'd be terrible, but...
I might do Yankee trivia.
I'll try.
Avalanche trivia, I don't even know. I wouldn't
Google.
even know the verbiage.
Just Google
seriously,
and copy-paste.
I don't know what any of that stuff means.
Yeah.
But... you gotta find some trivia for me. I don't know what it'd be.
Oh, yeah. Bowling, PBA.
I can do PBA.
But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Most importantly, everybody, stay sane, stay healthy, stay safe. We'll see you next Monday night for episode 184 of the Tan and J-Man Show. Have a great week, everybody.